Hello, friends. It's me, Cynthia, and Marty Balbon, and Azalea Bell
Hi.
behind the phone. And we are Green Girl Studios, and this is our Wednesday edition Magic Hour. Welcome, friends. We're streaming live out of Asheville, North Carolina. If anybody's out there and wants to give us a little bit of a thumbs up on the sound or picture, that'd be great. I see Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Hello, my friends. Hello, hello. Today I have some stuff to share with you. I'm going to show some of the things that we did on our launch party on Friday at Oak Tree. That was a lot of fun. We did a live for probably an hour and a half, and it was like it was kind of like a design challenge. Where you're like, okay, what do you have? What beads, what should we make, and I worked on this necklace here with the launch party was to launch these little frogs, these little stone frogs. I carved the original out of half baked clay, polymer clay, and I used different tools to carve it so that I would get a similar kind of stone like vibe. It's a little bit different than I usually work. Y'all know I usually like to carve wax, but in this case, I wanted the plumpness and the kind of the technique of that look kind of like stone, kind of like a rough hewn look. Oh, I see our friends. Hello, 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 Melanie. Melanie says, "Hey, Cynthia, Marty, and Azalea, look and sound great on Facebook. Thank you." I see Michelle over on YouTube. Sound good. Nancy says sound is good on YouTube. And Michelle says Marty is stealing the show as usual. And that's the point. See, everyone's looking at him. No one's really caring about my wrinkledy shirt. See, no one's going to send me a message and be like, Thornton, you couldn't be bothered to give that a little bit of esteem. Couldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have this pink frog. I love this one. Yeah, I kind of wanted to use this one. When we were talking about who's going to get one, which person was going to like. Oh, I left the necklace that I made for the cherry tree event. I had my assigned thing was the red jasper. Check it out. This is so cute. Right now, it's too soon to see what the winning frog, but we only made 100 of each, so it's pretty cool. I've never done anything like that before. As far as having a hand carved pieces, there were times when I would say, "Hey Tommy, is it possible to make a bead that's carved to look like a raspberry?" And him saying, "Maybe." And he made one strand of sapphires for me, and it was awesome. He was like, "This is just a test. We'll save them all." And I got the strand, and it turned out to be too hard. So I got the one strand, and I think I sold them during a live a couple of years ago, but it took a lot for me to break it up. Azalea was like, "Mom, you have to share those." It was not easy to do it. Oh, thank you. I see Deborah is here with us. Terry, Karen, hello, hello. I see Michelle. Oh, our friend Clem. Hello, Clem. And Shannon says Marty is looking very regal today. We were laughing because this ruff he's wearing is a piece that Azalea had crocheted for herself, and their necks are the same circumference. Isn't that weird? That a cat and a human have the same neck size? It's weird. I know. We've been talking about what we should make for him as far as the next costume piece. He doesn't mind wearing them, as you can see. Oh, listen now. I know he reacted like that was food, and that it looks like he's starving. You guys are probably like, "Why don't you feed that cat?" But we have to kind of control his food because he would eat and eat if he had his way. He'd just eat, never-ending eating. So anyway, that's we're trying to keep a fun project doing all these stones. And here's another one. Oh, and then the moons. Oh, we did, so check out these samples. We did a green moon. The green moon is okay. We didn't choose this as a final. We did choose the pink moon and this one, this black labradorite. It has some really, the best thing is the back has the craters on it. I tried to make it follow along that actual moon. And then the way I always imagine the moon. So that's my carving of how I imagine it. And so we picked these two stones. We did have the clear quartz. I thought that would be the most magical looking. And while it was really lovely, you really couldn't see the carving on it. Oh, hello, Connie. Hello. And Kathy. Clem says, yes, obviously starving. I know, he's clearly starving. Susan says hello. Hello, my friends. Oh, and June. Hello, June. We were just talking about, if you're just joining us, we were talking about the cherry tree launch that we did a collaboration. Jen and I have known each other for probably, I knew her boss from when Bill used to be the original owner of Cherry Tree. And I at the show, where was the show? It was in, I can't think of the name. It was not somewhere in North Carolina, I'll think of it in, like in Winston-Salem area. And also there was another one. There used to be a show right here in Asheville. This is like 20 some years ago. And it was at the Armory. And I used to love to come to Asheville. Before I ever lived here, I loved coming here because it was just such a strange, it was like people were weirdly friendly, like waving at you. They never seen you before. And they're saying hi to you. And granted, listen, I was living in LA, so this seemed like really strange for me.
Oh, we need to drop the link to those crystals.
Oh.
Didn't click it.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
There's the link to the Cherry Tree website with all those crystal frogs.
Anyway, I used to drop by the Cherry Tree store, and it's moved a couple of times. It used to be in what is now like a really serious flood zone in Asheville, and I love it since they've moved. They're closer to where we live now, I feel like. And it's in a really cute neighborhood. There's like a pretzel place that just opened up. There's a cracker place. It's like all carbs. This whole neighborhood of carbs. There's a bakery, coffee shop. Anyway, these have finally launched. Which do you guys like the best? There's this. So there's this one, Amazonite. There's another green. This was green aventurine. This one is, all right, so this is the one I made for this necklace. So I'm hoping I don't have to put those threads through. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to. But anyway, here's the necklace. I'm going to flip the camera on in a second. But maybe I'll just do it now. This is the Amazonite, and it's a beautiful sky blue. So cute. I think that's everybody's favorite, the blue frog, for whatever reason. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say what people like. Oh, hello, Cecilia. And I see Pat's here. Hello, Pat. And Pat says, I tripped and fell, managed to break my right wrist and elbow. This was right before my birthday.
Dang.
After the Todd Rundgren concert. Ah, that's too bad. I don't like to fall. Now Azalea, she's like makes her eyes. She's like, if I want to, because I'll say, hey, Azalea, do you think I can make this jump? And she automatically says no, even if I probably could make the jump because I messed up both my knees. This is going to say, this is going to sound crazy, but the water, if you don't know this, the water or the rocks by water, it doesn't matter where you are. It's slick, and it doesn't matter how good your shoes say that it's good on slick. It's still too slick to jump across. So if you're ever like, can I do this? The answer is no. Let me just tell you right now, don't jump because you'll inadvertently do the splits in both knees. One got like this, the other one got like that, and I was just like, hey, listen, this is not good. And I had to, cry quietly as I hobbled back to the car. I was looking around. Where's the other piece? I can't find it because I know why. Because it's at the showroom. And Pat says, "Beware of wide-legged long pants." You don't tell me about that. I know that's hardcore. Oh, Karen says the Amazonite. That's the favorite. Amazonite's a favorite all the time. And Michelle says, woohoo, a neighborhood of carbs. It is. There's a little coffee shop. They're putting in a new restaurant. It's a pretty cute little area if you want to come and see. I was teasing Jen. I was like, Jen, what if we had our little GreenGirlStudios was in the next block? Wouldn't that be cool? So it was like this whole block in Swananoa where people came to play with beads. So that's kind of fun. Michelle, you fell down too with wearing wide-legged pants to a concert. Okay, I'm gonna make a mental note. Never wear wide-legged pants to a concert. It seems like a lot of people are tripping. It's like wearing like a maxi skirt. I told Zed I don't ever wear a maxi skirt, but I have some pants I wanted to hem. And after reading this, I think I'm gonna turn those floods into awkward capris. You guys know what I'm talking about, awkward capris, because they do wide leg right at the wrong spot. I'm gonna flip this camera. We've been going 10 minutes. I was giving people a minute to get in and join the stream. We now have enough people, I think. So I'm gonna flip this, get it ready. Okay, so it's like, why is there? Oh, it's like the shadow's there because that's the way the light is going. All right. Hello, Wendy. Wendy came to our little launch party. It was pretty fun. Had a good time. Drove around the Biltmore Park. Joanne has a season pass, and we often walk there. It's really cool to walk. So here are the different. I don't have the cards here. Should have grabbed some of the cards. I forgot to grab them. But anyway, this is what I did for the live. If you want to see this in action happening, this is on Silk. You can watch it. I don't know if we shared it on ours or if it is only on their YouTube. Azalea shared it to ours too. Thank you, because I'm on it, so I might as well. Mommy's getting hot. Let's take that off. He's getting released. He's happy now. I took that collar off because he's like.
He's back.
Mm-hmm. Hey, honey, would you mind making that little AC filling it for me? Because it's warm when I do these lives because all the lights on me. So I did this. If you want to see the whole thing, I also did a live showing not that long ago showing this knotting technique. This is a single strand knot using silk, and it was on a card. So it has a built-in little wire that's twisted at the end, so it forms a needle. The way I show is on nylon. Boy, this stuff though, it is good. It's beautiful and sturdy. I don't know if you can see this. It's like mini tiny rope, right? So it has a little bit of a texture. Like when you run your finger across it, it's like a slight, you can feel it. It's kind of ridged. And it gave me a little bit of a blister after tightening all these little holes right where that channel where the thread runs. So if you do this kind of knitting with this silk, I would suggest putting make yourself put a little Band-Aid or a piece of masking tape on your finger so you don't get rug burn where I got that right here. And it's funny, like that happens to me. I must have thin skin. But I made a ring too that covers this part because when I'm crocheting or knitting something that has really aggressively, this is not even aggressive, I would say. It's not even really super coarse like hemp or something. Like cotton cord can do that. What's it called? This is called silk cording. Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice. Thank you. I have a little machine that's like what do you call it? A tiny, I'm going to turn down the sound. Thank you. But it makes a breeze around my feet. So then, my face is hot, but it's like a cooling technique to cool your whole body. Anyway, I have to figure out how to connect this. Wendy said, you were working pretty dang fast. Oh, yes, I was. I was working. Oh, the thread. This is silk, Carolyn. This is silk. So this is built in. It comes in cards. If you go to the Cherry Tree website, I don't know exactly what the I didn't write down or I didn't pick the link for that. But I'm gonna put this one. You can see it's your feet. It's the view. I feel like there was one more. Did I do one more, Zoe? Was it just 4
I'm not
of
sure.
those? I know that there is also blue labradorite is coming soon. Oh no, we did this one too. Was it this? Did
Yeah,
we
I
pick
think
this?
maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we did. So
People
this
can
was
just look at the options on the website and see what they
this
got.
is the black labradorite in the frog. Look at his face. Look at that face. Isn't that cute? I'm really happy with them. This is a pretty limited run. I don't know how many of these we're going to make. We did 100 of each stone to start. So if you like these, I would say at least get one of that's your favorite, because I'm not sure if we'll get them again. You know, sometimes you make something and it's only one time, and sometimes you get it and you can keep making it forever. But if we don't have a lot of, like, if they kind of have, well, if people don't buy them really fast, we probably won't order more, obviously. I guess that's obvious. But if you do like it and you're on the fence, just remember there's only 100 total. Actually, there's not 100 because I have some of them that I kept for myself. Oh, Carolyn says, I like the black one. That's black labradorite. So I like them. I'm kind of in love with them. So anyway, for this necklace, I got to this point and I debated, so should I put a clasp on it or not? And the answer that I thought was no, because I don't want to deal with putting a little clasp on this. Partly because I don't want it to be at this, I don't want the connection point right here. I want a smooth connection between this point here. So what I'll probably end up doing is connecting through here and using some kind of cording or protection to keep that from rubbing this raw and breaking. Because that, ultimately when you have a stone bead, it's not heavy, but it's heavier than this. And I love this style of necklace. I've got another one I'm wearing now. I'm going to take it off and show it. And I made this one during a live when I was launching this mala bead kit a while back. I don't remember. I don't think we have any more of this. But this is what I did for that. Oh, Wendy says, I bought that little black frog and he is gorgeous. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love that that piece. So this is another way. Say you want to do a mala, but it's the summertime and you don't feel like having the full weight of a treasure necklace, which is can be heavy. Like a treasure necklace, what I'm calling a treasure necklace. I have one over here and I don't see it. They're usually hanging in the back of every chair that I have has a necklace hanging on it. Sorry, that was Greg sneezing. You can hear a pin drop in here. Oh, hello, Cherie. Oh, there was no notification. I wonder why that is on Facebook. It should say. I wonder if there's a setting. But knowing Facebook, it's probably like another new rule that they're like, we're not telling anybody that you're going live.
Facebook is goofy.
Facebook is goofy. So this is a treasure necklace. That's what I'm calling this type, because it's a mix of some of my favorite stones. So for those that maybe you don't know what I do, I manufacture and make jewelry components, and I make jewelry and I set up at art fairs, and I have some jewelry in consignment shops and galleries, that type of thing. And occasionally I will put my extra, I'll buy beads, but I'll buy it in bulk so that I can share some of my stones. And, because sometimes when you buy a strand, like here's one that's been sitting on my desk. I brought it down because I was like, I might do something with this and make threader earrings. Threader earrings are the type that don't have, it's like a tiny fine chain that runs through your ear hole. And I got these are little aquamarines. And I probably used, like looking at this strand, I probably used 2 or 4 of them, because it's not that many. Maybe I'd say 2 of them. That looks how many. And sometimes then I would have this much left if I didn't make, this stuff. Like a lot of times I will say this, I'll make a pair of earrings and then when it sells, I'll go make another pair. But I don't like to make production of something I don't know if it's going to sell or not, because then you have your materials bound up in finished jewelry that is just sitting. So the best thing to do, at least that for me, is to make one-offs, and then I take pictures, and if it does really well, I'll make more. So I made a pair of earrings, and they probably sat for a minute, or I just sold them and forgot, and sometimes that happens as well. I mean, I actually, when I think about it, that's probably more accurate, because sometimes I just make one or two of something, and that's it, and I never revisit it. And then maybe it did sell, and I just forgot. So anyway, I love buying beads, and I don't mind sharing them with my friends. So a lot of the time I will do things like this here. This was a bead. This was the lucky dip we did a couple weeks ago. And on, I think, Wednesday, I showed this technique for making an earring. This is an earring I like making. It's pretty fast. I hammered this down. You don't have to hammer it down. You can make different shapes. And I showed this on the live. If you missed it, you can watch it again. It's on our YouTube page. And I don't know if they're tagged or what. We did have a moment where we were tagging things. Oh, Zelia's getting ready to put something. The cherry tree. She's getting it.
I've been doing it.
Oh, thank you, Lubar. So this one was one where you could use that and then also wrap either the whole outside and do a drop. But it's the same thing. I've done this many times. And it's a way to use these tiny beads in a way that you can kind of ration them out, because they're not cheap. They're not cheapo beads in this container. So usually what I do with them is I make something fine with them. And like they have a lot of bang for your buck, as far as like you get the way I sold it is like it's already ready to go. You can do some small and do a head pin. That's one way I showed that the other night. But anyway, yeah, one of the things I like to do is I'll just bring my optivisors and a pair of pliers and to make like a mini jewelry kit and a good light. That's a key. Some people are like, I can barely see it. Well, I would say to you, if you can't see it, you need to get some optivisors and a very strong light, and that will help with that significantly, because you know what? Guess what? I use a light and I use optivisors. I made this necklace for my friend a long time ago, and I got it back, and it's sad to inherit something that you've made for someone, so it's kind of depressing, but it held up. And this is one that I made for my buddy, and I used 14 karat gold overlay on silver, so that's called vermeil. It looks pretty yellow, so maybe it was 18 karat. But anyway, this is one of my little bronze coins. I don't make this anymore, but this is from way back when. But you can see, you can also, if you have some of these beads do have a little bit bigger hole, you can try it. But the bigger ones, you can actually get away with making chain with 26 gauge. If you can't, and it's real small, some of them have very, very small holes. With those, I reserve those to use with 28 gauge, and that's like this right here. This is the 28 gauge I was talking about. So I just wanted to go over a little bit of that in case you were like, if you got that lucky dip from a couple weeks ago and you're like, what am I going to do? So there's a few ideas, and I thought I would revisit today. I thought, hey, I talked about doing soft flex, but I feel like I just did soft flex not that long ago with making a necklace. And I want to get the right kinds. The one I have here is a little on the thick side. And I made earrings. So there was one, and like about a month ago, I did one where you make an earring with a ring, with just a ring of soft flex and a crimp. And that round makes a really cute earring, or like a halo around it. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to kind of clear the deck here and see what else. Oh, okay, so I have this here. This is a full mala of 108 beads, I believe. And you can tell that's a big fistful. And color coordinated this. This took me forever, by the way. But you know what? I did this with a single strand. Now I see it every time. We have folks asking, is it better to do single or double? Well, the answer to that is always double if you can fit it. Always. The reason being is that the whole reason you even knot beads to begin with is so that if there's a mishap, and sometimes there is, you don't want to be like, like bending over or getting your necklace caught in the door and it gets shut and you get like strangled or something. It's better for the nylon to break. And if that happens, you only lose the one bead. So you never want jewelry that's so amazingly soldered that it actually can kill you. At least, and I don't ever wear anything that's like a completely soldered chain. You're never going to see me wear that. Or like it's like permanently, if it doesn't have like a test point, like, they'll say like certain wire will have a 40-pound test. You don't want it to be like, it will not break under any circumstances, because that means it's like an accident, you don't want that. It's like a breakaway collar for a cat. The same concept, except you're a human. All right, so I'm looking at this, and this is a single strand here. I was just about to like try to explain this a little bit better. But with a single strand, oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. So with a single strand, what can happen is this will relax as it's being worn. And as it relaxes, some of the beads might not have been as tight when I knotted them. And even though, I'm pulling hard on these threads, but the thing is that sometimes you're going to get some of this. And the holes on the beads can be a little bit big. And if that's the case, sometimes they can swallow over the knot. And so when you have something that's single strand, you're more liable to have that. And so some of these beads just slide right over top of their knot. And it's really like, that makes me a little bit crazy. So to avoid that, I like to double knot. So this is a single here, single thread of silk. This is a double strand. Wendy says that always should be a plan. Don't die. Well, I mean, your jewelry, I say that, and sometimes I'll wear a bangle, but I know that the solder on a bangle is not, like, I know that will break at like 40 pounds, it'll break. So I know that that's not something like that. But you're not going to be injured or something like that. So this is double strand. Yes, I use two colors. They're kind of, let's see if you can see that a little closer. So this is like a peachy kind of color right there, like a rose and a brown. And it's a double strand, but look at how much, like a hair larger those beads are, or knots. You see, they're a little bit bigger. So if you have a big hole, it's not going anywhere. And you can see this one I wear all the time, and you get the same feel, this kind of ethereal, lightweight feel, which is what we're going for. It's a perfect summertime type necklace. When it gets hot, you want something cool. You might not want to wear full, thick, heavyweight beads. Like this is my answer to that. It was like between a crochet necklace, and it's like using mid-weight beads. But these are all actually knotted in between too. I don't know if you could see that. But this one is also doubled. And the doubling on this is with two fine threads. See that? And these matched-ish. They're both in that kind of brown, tan, so that's another thing that if you're wondering, and I've seen this question pop up before, can you mix sizes with knotting? The answer is yes. The only thing is that you got to fit it through your bead holes. So that's why you want to check that. Oh, this would look good with this. This would be a good technique with that. Let's see how it looks. Oh, hello, Ann. Ann Gardan is joining us, and Vicki Van Graff. Hello, my friends. Hello, hello. Yeah, picture that. Look how juicy that would be. I think that'd be real pretty. So this carving, it's fun. I have, you all know that I have a long love affair with froggy creatures. And this, I mean, frogs in general have a symbolism of being kind of survivors. You know, they can burrow themselves down in the mud when there's a drought. They can, I mean, they transform from being an egg to a little pollywog to a froglet and then a frog, and then starting their life from water and then onto land, and then making a long journey to go out and find a mate and then come back and then start the process all over. So it's a creature full of journeys, and so that's why we named it the Safe Journey Frog, and why frogs have that kind of reputation is because they're kind of, you know, they have a skill of surviving. All right, so these are the different types of knotting. Let me just show that. This is single strand, double strand, but heavier weight. And then here is a double strand on fine. I didn't finish this. You can see I didn't finish this. And also because here's why I didn't finish it with this. Another loose one. And this is on a double strand. The reason this happened was because the holes on this thread could have been they're a little larger than my than the thread. So I could have actually gotten away with a little bit thicker. So let me see if I can straighten this out. So this is 2 strands of black, but they're 2 very fine strands. And this is a case where you can have 2 strands, and if it's too, like some of the bead holes on this were very large, like these were pretty large on this. This is a mixed stone that I picked up. I was going to make necklaces like this. I bought all the stuff to do this, you know. I was going to make a bunch of these, but it actually kind of drove me a little bit crazy because of this issue right here. And for some of the stones, like I got all these, like I wanted to make rainbow necklaces that I could sell because this has a really cool feel to it. It's like, I don't know. It's like a strand of pearls. It's that same kind of vibe, but just a different colorway and the same kind of energy. And I was going to put a round clasp on the end. And I got to this point, I was so frustrated because I was like, man, that gap tooth, it's really bugging me. And let me see, it's like somewhere right in the front. But this one, there's a little, I mean, and look, it swallows that knot. It's not that big of a deal. And I did see a comment come in to say, hey, you could always put in a spacer that's like a knot cover. And that is actually pretty good. I could go in there and fix that, but it just seemed kind of. And then Bonnie says, so many of my knotted necklaces have the gap. I know, I hate that story. And I don't want to hate it. I want to be like, oh, it's like part of the journey. But that's my perfectionism kicking in. So anyway, I thought that after I showed these, which I've shown them, here are the ones that did not make it. Like this didn't make it. Partly because people would say, oh my God, I love that color. Oh, but it's opaline. And opaline is glass. So synthetic opal is glass. And while it's pretty, it's one of those things that doesn't sell great. I mean, I like it, but even when they find out, it's, you know, it's one of those things. Sherry says, love the chrysoprase. This one is actually Amazonite. Chrysoprase, this frog would have been a lot more money. And so we picked stones that had pretty good value and it wouldn't break the bank. Because, you know, some of the stones, like if you had that made in lapis, while beautiful, it would have been a fortune. So here's that green moon. We're going to take a closer look. This was the sample, but you can really see the carving really well on that. And also, here's one of the ones that we tested without the craters. And here it is with the craters. So you can see, even though it's kind of a subtle thing, it has such a nice texture to it. I think I'm glad that we went with it. So it makes for a nice, like, good worry stone type feeling. Sherry says, opaline is really pretty. It is really pretty, but it is not like a good seller. So we didn't have this one made. This was the one, like I kept this sample. I was like, Jen, can I have that? And she was like, yes. Okay. At first, I think she wanted it. And I don't blame her because it's really sweet. And I think I would put it on one. I'm going to keep this one for myself. And I'm going to make something. Yeah, I can put that on there. But it's also a little fragile, you know. You got to be extra careful because opaline it's, it's glass. It's not like, I mean, some of that. Oh, no, why didn't I line that one up in here? All right, so there's that. We've gone over. We've covered all the talk about the frogs. I hope you guys get one and that you like it, and you guys tell me which one's your favorite. If you like the Amazonite, the green aventurine, the red jasper, the pink quartz, or the black labradorite. There's also a blue labradorite that is on its way here to the showroom that is over at Cherry Tree in Swananoa. So that's something to be excited about. I'm gonna get some of those, and I was thinking about doing a kit with them. If I were to do a kit, which one would you pick, y'all? Is there, if y'all feel like giving me a show of hands, or like maybe not a show of hands, maybe a comment of what you like. Oh, and then here's another thing. While I have it right in front of my face, one thing that I like to do with rounds. So we did a mala kit, like what? I don't know, on TGBE, we had a mala kit that was like, a mini mala dip of all the stones from like all these kits. We just put them all together, and some from my private collection. And so look at these, they look pretty top quality labradorite. And I was making a bracelet. And so one of the things you can do with the fancy beads from the Lucky Dip, if you got that, is to add between some of the malas. So you can mala beads. So I have on here some of the rondelles. They're small, but what is this? So this is these are very fine. 28 gauge looks like of the head pins. So you can take those fine head pins. I love them. I make them, but if I can't make them, I'll order them from Rio or wherever. Sometimes I usually like to get my stuff, like my components from either I'll get some from Kate or whatever she's doing, because sometimes they'll have a good price for head pins, or I'll get them from just different places like Kamal Trading. They might have them, you can order them. Like these, I have them in different lengths. So my favorite is the, what is this, Bead Hobby. I wonder if I got some we met a new friend the other day at a bead show, and that was pretty fun to run into something. We got recognized at a bead show, and it was pretty cool. I think they were like, hey, do you ever teach? I was like, maybe. But anyway, it comes in different lengths, and I get like these lengths. I actually have a shorter one that's about an inch. It's like this, and that's good for doing the short pieces like this. So this one I did a stack. That's some Andalusite right there, real pretty. Oh, I remember what I was going to do with this. So I like to add what I call is sugar. I like to say I'm going to add some sugar to that. And this is what the sugar is. There's these little things on head pins, and anywhere I can connect them. And I was going to go through and do a bunch of them. So that was on my things to do. I looked, I was like, why didn't I put a clasp on that? Now I remember why I didn't put a clasp on it. I need a clasp that will match it, number one. And it looks like I'm not, look, I need like 2 more beads. That's probably why. Wendy Hawkins says, I love the moon faces. Thank you. And Kathy says, Amazonite or Blue Lab. And then Karen says, the rose one for the kit. And Bonnie says, I love the moon faces. Let's see what else. Wendy says, definitely want one of the blue labradorite. And she says, but you know that already. Let me know when they come in. I will. I'll let everybody know. It'll be good times. I'm not going to keep that little secret to myself. I haven't sent this out in the newsletter yet, so I'm excited to see if they do pretty well. We've been talking about it, like kind of with, with bated breath. How will these be received? We've been talking about it, but, who knows how things go. It's kind of a, you never know how a project's going to be received. You work really hard on something, and you just, sometimes it's tepid. Sometimes it's exciting. You never know what the reaction's going to be. All right, this would actually be a good way to do this one. 2 sides, maybe. if that's too much wire wrapping, you can also go and attach chain. That's one of my little tidbits that I do pretty often, because doing chain, like handmade chain, all the way to the end that's a lot of work, and that's something that you have to factor into the price. So one thing that I'll do is I'll do enough wire wrapping. You can see this is like where your blouse would like right at the point of your neck. And so I added this long piece here so that you could change the amount that you were showing. And this saves me from having to do this much handmade chain, So that's one of my little things that I'll do is I'll get chain from one of my, like, maybe even take part in necklace. I'm not afraid. And then add it so that it's not so labor intensive, but you're working on it and you're like, well, that's now that this is like an extra 3 to 4 more hours, the price is not going to be. So sometimes you've got to factor in how much you spend time wise on a piece. I see Carolyn says Amazonite. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea for the kit. I think that's when people like that, and I saw people say the rose. So perfect. All right, I'm gonna clear the decks here, and we're gonna get to doing a little bit of some kind of tutorial here.
40 minutes in.
40 minutes in. Well, it's gonna be short. Listen, I don't know about y'all, or if anybody knows about the Augusta Trail between Hendersonville and Brevard, but they opened the first leg of the trail on Friday. And so Greg and I this morning, I got up at like 8 o'clock, or got ready like I was ready, which is I don't know if you know me, but that's pretty amazing, unreal. But I'm actually like ready to go. Got my bike ready, did some repairs. It was a lot of fun, but it was hot, and so now I'm like I feel like I got hit. Even though I went home and we went out to eat right afterwards, and then I fell down into my bed, and that was it. All right. I told Azai, I said, what should we show today? And she was like, I don't know, think of something. Because she's like not feeling it. She's talking. We had not rough, but we had a pretty action-packed month. Maybe I'll just finish this thing out. So I have, let's see if I can finish this necklace in 20 minutes, right? Let's see if it's possible. I think it is. So one thing I was saying on the previous slide, so I put these beads on a card and knotted them after they were strung. No trimming before I finished the necklace. I only trimmed off this much because I thought that would be plenty. And so what I'm going to do now, see how it's like this? This is no bueno. We don't want that. Because that'll make it a real pain to add a clasp or finish it in any way. You can't really finish it if that's what is happening. So I'm just throwing things left and right. So here we have fray check. I think we talked about fray check before, but if you have fray check, this is going to make your life easy because you're not going to be trying to force feed this frayed piece of, like, even if you wet it, people say, oh, just wet it. Just put a little bit of wet on it. And then you'll be able to get it through. You'll be able to get it through this French wire. So I have 2 colors of French wire. Connie says, I would like the clear frog. Connie, there's no clear frog. That's just my sample. We didn't pick that because we didn't think anybody would want it. There's only this one. Only one, because it's glass. It's opalite. If you want any of the other ones, you can get them on the Cherry Tree website. Let me see if I can paste it in again. So there's a link that I just dropped to get the other ones. All right, so this is called French wire. I don't know if they came up with this as an embroidery first or as a way to to sew it down, and it makes that bullion stitch. But if you look really closely, I don't know if you can see this. It's a very fine, like really tiny spring, and you just cut how much you need, and that's it. You just thread it through. Took me a minute there. So I'll have to decide if I want silver or gold color. They're not actually, I don't think they're plated. That's just the color of the metal, I think. They could be plated. I don't know. They don't have the feeling of being plated, but if it is plated, it must be beforehand. So what you want to do is you don't want this like fuzzy business here. So I trim a little bit of that off. And then I showed this before. So you just need a little piece of plastic. There's one. Or you can use your fingers. I've got a little drop there. And I'm just going to, I don't need to do it on both sides. I just need to do it on the side that doesn't have the needle. And you can just run that through. It doesn't need to be a lot because all you're trying to do is stiffen that up so that you can get it through the French bullion. Otherwise, I kind of struggled with getting that through there initially because I thought I could do it during the live stream. But the only thing that Jen had, she had some other kind of, she doesn't have fray checks, so that made it hard. So one thing we can do to end this necklace, there's a few things you can do. I'm going to get this French wire out here. I'm going to let this dry. And while I'm letting it dry, I'm going to consider my options. I've been using this color because I like it. I think it looks pretty. And I think it looks good with this. So I could do mixed material. There's also, you could use a crimp on it. You could just knot it. This will not burn and melt together like the nylon. So you could use glue. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and the reason I'm using it is that I believe that this will last longer. All this knotting that I did will last longer if I protect the thread going through here, because this is kind of, it's not super heavy, but it's heavy enough that you need there to be something, because the stone holes aren't rough. They don't feel rough to me, like particularly rough. But here's the thing. I can't feel all the way down in there into that bead hole to know if it's going to act like sandpaper and fray this eventually. So what I'm going to do is I want to protect it. Now there's a few things you can do. You could take beads. I have all these different kinds of beads in here for exactly this purpose and more besides, like little containers of these that have different sizes. All of these look too big. Maybe that's not too big over there. But one thing you can do is line the inside. Maybe they'll take, I don't know how many. If you have these long beads, you could put them going in two different directions and then knot and put knot covers to protect it. Knot covers, these are knot covers right here. This is a smaller one. And then here's a bigger one right here. And it's like, these guys can hide a multitude of sins. So I'll use this if I'm trying to hide a particularly ugly knot, or or if you have like a gap in those, you could use these and put them like I'll sometimes use that with the Karen Hill tribe because they're not soldered, like these don't. I have another case of these somewhere over here. I don't see it to hand, but it was out. It had smaller. Anyway, some of these, let me see if I can find one that is not. Well, must be in the other container. But, here's one. This is one that I like to use. These have an eye on them, but look how big the hole is. And so, if they're not completely soldered, like that's not soldered shut, I could use that. I could kind of open it and slide it over a place where there's like one of those spots where it's kind of gappy. And if it's like a little round one, there's a couple of round ones in there, then that's a little bit better. Like this one, I see it right here. I don't think that's soldered either. I think it's just wrapped. Yeah, there it is. And you would think that wouldn't be useful, but let me tell you, I buy them for. It's kind of like the whiteout of knotting. You can kind of cover up places that you don't like. But then again, then you have a spot and you're like, oh, that's where you have a loose bead, huh? Kathy Ryan says maybe 11 seed beads would work. I think they would. Yeah, you would. Seed beads would be perfect because number one, they're cheap. Let me see what I have over here. Any kind of bead that'll fit through this hole. This one looks like massive through there. Is that the same? Weird. This actually has a bigger hole than this one. It's kind of unexpected. This one, well, the other ones look like they're pretty consistent. It's pretty amazing how they make them. I carved the original out of clay, and this is my clay box. So, oh no, that's what they call wax. I was working on a ring, and the wax on this is a little bit different than I use. This is a type that I use for files, and I save this wax so that I can melt it down. It's really stringy. I'll do a live showing this a little bit more depth. But this is my polymer, and I'm working on, like, this is going to be like roof tiles for part of our set that we're working on with Hoagie. So sometimes I'll carry this around, and I'll make them so that I can go in with files. Right now I don't have it happening, but that's coming soon. I just thought I'd show some of the process, if you will. So this would be good. It looks like that is going to be really hard to get. I would have to do each side. Let's just see what will happen. So I left the string on. This is why if you get that pack of silk, don't cut this off until you're ready to tie the knot. Don't even think about it, because then that would not be good. You know what I mean? Because then you'd have to go glue the other end. Let's see if it's ready. Well, it's stiffened it's nicely stiffened, and so you can see it's not frayed out, but a little bit. And I can trim that with some sharp scissors, and I'm pretty sure I could get that through there. And if you do, you put that French wire through there, you can then go through and it'll sit and protect the thread from getting damaged. And that's why you use it. It's the whole purpose of this stuff. The other purpose of it is for embroidery techniques, where they'll sew it down, they'll cut little pieces like this much, and you run the thread through, and then if you draw the thing up like that, it will give you like kind of a raised look, and you can kind of stretch it out and do it too. It looks pretty cool. Now they make it for embroidery, and it has a different name. I think it's called bullion or something, and it's a little bit wider and shinier, and it comes in different colors. It's like it looks like this, but almost like a tinsely look. Jasper or labradorite, says Vicky. Yes. Oh, nice. Wendy, I like that story of putting, we like to do the pre-cook and then throwing on the grill for finishing. Greg is actually a super good cook. I told him, I said, listen, if the beads and jewelry start to get too difficult, too hard to do, maybe we're getting too old to lift all that stuff and doing the running around to the markets. And I said, listen, you should just we'll go on and have a little cart with shish kebabs on it. Oh, why did I put that away? I need to cut some out. We'll try it. I'm just going to see. If it looks, I'm going to try and get it where it's like right at the same amount as like his neck. And it can be a little over it because I can trim it if it's too long. All right, let's put it through this side. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to take it over to Cherry Tree and have them photograph it for their newsletter. And number one, I need to put my glasses on because it turns out this is small. More small stuff. There we go. Making space. Okay. And that fits right in there. You see that? It's a little bit long, but it doesn't bother me. And I can feel that slight amount of rubbing or friction. So it looks like I need to cut it about, let's see, I'm going to kind of smash it a tiny bit. So I made a little kink on it with my thumbnail. Hopefully that doesn't mess it up. I don't think it'll mess it up. Might be hard to get it out through this way. And I'm not going to go the whole distance. I guess I am going the whole distance. Cut at that kink. There we go. Nice. Last night we went over to a friend's house. They were having a barbecue. Our friend had a birthday, and so everybody brings some food, and they had a bonfire. And I brought those poi pods. Listen, I'll go up and down the street doing that so I don't get hit by a car. I want everybody to see me. But it's pretty fun. Oh, I should have measured that to do 2 sides. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. Let's cut this. I want to make 2 of them. I don't think I can try and get 2 pieces in there. That's asking a lot. But if you had seed beads to go through there, say they're a little bit smaller, but they have nice big holes, or if you use this would fit for sure, and I could run that through. But right now I'm going to use this, and I'm going to try and get them both the same amount. It would have been horrendous if I'd cut the cord accidentally. I've done that, by the way. All right, this side is ready to be knotted. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here. I'm going to tie knots on either end. And then I'm going to trim it. And hopefully, what I don't want is, you know what I should have done? Before I cut this off. So sometimes this is one of the things that I'll do is I'll do the placement of things. You know, you place it and say, hey, will this work? Will this work? And I haven't worked with this silk in a while, so I don't know what the parameters are exactly of this material. Is it going to be difficult to knot afterward or after I put this? If I put those, is that going to be a big enough hole? It probably isn't going to be a big enough hole. But right now I'm just getting this straightened up, and what I might have to do is put a stopper bead. And that's not a big deal because I like it to be a little bit longer. So maybe what I'll do is I have some of these beads over here, and I'll pre-string it and get it ready. I don't know if I can. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just get these, and that might be a nice match. So these have a nice big bead hole. It might be too big. Let's see what that looks like. That might be a good one. Might add a little bit of, just a little pop of shiny to that. These guys can kind of get away from you. Just shove it in there, and it's like, okay, just get in there. And once it's in the little cubby, it kind of acts right, but you kind of got to, you know, position it. And of course, look how these always flip and open. All right, so I'm going to add one of these guys. We'll put this on here first. Thankfully, that went on without a problem. And this is probably go right over top of that bullion French wire. Oh, wait, I got to get this on. Zip. So while there are, you know, several ways, looking at what right over that French wire easily. It's going to be my knot hider. Okay, this side ready. This side getting there. I'm going to trim this a little bit. Divisors down. Come on, fit. I know you can do it. And then what's frustrating is it's like it's slight. This is not easy on this side. I might have to. And what I did there was I tried to get that to as much of a little point as I could. So it might actually be easier to work with seed beads, you know. But this is just another method that you can use if you don't have them handy. Like I don't have seed beads right at my fingertips at this particular moment. If I was upstairs in my studio, oh look. So here's what's happening with this. So I don't know if you can see this, but I might have to add more what you call it to it, fray check, because it's kind of doing that thing where it doesn't want to go in. I'm trying to get it to go in there. Maybe if I twist it through. And this is with the silk, by the way, if you're just like wondering what this is. This is the silk that I used on our project on Friday to make this necklace. And so I can feel that I am probably right there with it. And even though I used some fray check, I can feel it just a little at a time squeezing through there. We'll see if I have the patience to twist this thing and see how far that will go. But once I'm done, it'll be a matter of moments, you know, to just knot that and then it will be finished. But I want to cover it because I don't want my knots to be, or I don't want this thread to be just sort of unprotected. Even, you know, even the best thing to do, even if you didn't, is you could actually wire wrap it and make a French wire, like wrap the thread and then go through. But that takes a little bit more planning than I planned. So while there's a few ways to do it, there's always like more than one way. That's what I kind of love about jewelry making is that it's like, while there'll be, you know, there's a million ways to use seed beads. You can use peyote stitch, you can use brick stitch, you can use so many ways to stitch it. Just like with stringing, there's a million ways to end it, a million ways to use, like, well, maybe not a million, but you get the idea. There's no wrong or considered right way. There's just different techniques. And depending on the thread. So this one is not wanting to go through. And I can feel it, like, it's practically there. I'm just twisting this, but it's very tedious to do this. And one thing is I could have gone back in and put some more fray check and waited another minute so that this would be a little bit sturdier. And so I didn't have to twist on this to get this to kind of force through this very thin wire. Because see, I can feel it where it's kind of floppy, but it's really testing my patience. So what I'll do, since I got one side, I'm going to go in. There's probably a way to do something like this. Get it in there. Like I got my no. But she used these kind of, like I feel like there was a way. If you did it like this, I remember seeing something where she showed me, you know, she got that right through there. But I'll have to experiment. I can feel it where the end of it is like right there. So close. So anyway, I'm at just about over an hour, and I wanted to have this finished, so it's kind of challenging. I'm like so ready to be done with this necklace, so I can drop it off and be done. But I'm pretty frustrated with getting this through there. So what I might do, and I don't know if I'm going to start this whole shebang over. I don't have the seed beads right in front of me. These are a little bit big. These are too small. So that's the where I'm at this point in time. Is that I need a few more ingredients to make this work. And let's see, what's this? Oh, I don't have enough of these. This is one of the things, is I use these guys constantly. But you don't have to have silver to go inside the inside of this. So what I actually need are some big hole. Actually, what's this? Let's see what this is. This is just laying around on my desk. Let's see what kind of hole size this is, because this might work as well. You won't be able to see inside there. So here's how a lot of things get, in my mind, get discovered how to fix it. If there's a problem, is you run out of something or you don't have it. And then, like, I have these, I don't know why I have these, but I must have picked them out for some reason. So I hate to do this. Let's see how much I got in there. I'll hold it and pull. Oh, that's it. And I just, all that struggle, riding the struggle bus for that much. Okay. So I'm going to put these through. This will fit. Yep. There it goes. I might need 4. Let's see. Yeah, I think 4 would do it. And it's from being twisted. It's no longer as stiff from the fray check, and it's fighting me a little bit. There's like the stray hair or the stray fibers is not having it. So hopefully, could be. That's enough. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this very carefully. I'm going to knot here. In theory, I should have done this already. Don't be like me and wait. And then when you plan it, see, I didn't plan ahead. I need to put something to stop over that. And then it's going to go through this bead here. Now, another thing that you can do, and this is another thing that I might consider, is that let's see that little thing peeking on that side. I don't want it to peek. There you. And with this side. Oh, thank you, Connie. I appreciate you. Connie said, I just ordered the Amazonite frog. Cute design. Thank you. I love it, and I hope a lot of people get it. I'm kind of nervous that people won't like it. It's like, am I the only one that likes this kind of stuff, like this kind of frog? I guess I'll find out, right? Let's see if I can get this. So close. I can feel it. All right, get in there. Why are you fighting me? Oh my God, these guys don't want to go in. Oh no, they will go in. They don't want to go in at the same time as the bouillon or the French wire. But isn't it always something? Ugh, come on, you guys. Let's get in there. I want those, look, like 2 are fitting, and then the rest don't want to get in. Of course. So if I could have gotten this in, that would have been ideal, because then they would have just been in there and they wouldn't be a problem. Like, this is being a problem right now because it doesn't quite want to fit at the same time. But this is part of jewelry making. You know, it's not all going to be just like the easy part where everything just strings perfectly and you don't have any kind of, there's no like problem area. There's always going to be something with anything worth doing. So I'm going to try it with really stretching them out and like kind of getting them through and getting that tension to get that to squeeze through there. I'm trying to pull these guys in. They're kind of halting. There might be some kind of something in the middle, but this is a pretty big hole. So I'm not sure why that's not coming through very easily, but these little cylinders are not like, there's a little bit of variation. So what I might do is find something a little smaller because they are big. And I think I have, let's see. I'm going to try something else because these are too what's the word I'm looking for? These are just too wide. They don't want to fit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to find a bead that fits it. I really wanted that to fit. This is the ideal, is for the French wire to go through there with ease. So what I might do is get a little more fray check and see if I can't get a tighter, thinner end. And sometimes that requires, to get a little, just go in. And I'm going to make this a very saturated needle. Oh, okay. What is Wendy saying? Amazing group, Cherry Tree. Cute shop. All right. Bonnie says, I've never bought from Cherry Tree before. They're nice. They're super nice. They're nice people. All right, I'm going to add another layer to this because, why not? And I want it to be stiff stuff. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. And hopefully this will make it so that I can fit through that French wire. I really want that to work. And I'm a stubborn person, so we're going to see. So I tried this. This was a little too wide to fit with this at the same time. All right. The other thing I could do is I have some of these things, you just have to try it out and see what fits. Like, I feel like I have some beads that are very small that could work, but how if it's not right at my fingertips, then it's like I don't even have it. So I'm gonna let that sit for just a second. I think it's already stiffer than it was, but we'll give it a second. Connie says, the frogs have so much detail. I was surprised that they weren't more expensive. Then Cherry Tree had the 20% off. Oh, yeah. They do have a great price. They do. These aren't going to break the bank. I think they're under $20. I mean, for the amount of level of detail and the fact that it's a limited run, I mean, you could buy stuff that's like the detail. I mean, a lot of the carving that you can get nowadays is kind of primitive. I have a bunch of carved beads. I collect them, and I was really happy with the level of detail and how close to the original that they came. But I'm going to knock this one. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to knock this one into the place that I want. It's easy to do. Yeah, if you're on the fence about visiting Asheville because you're like, oh, what's open? I would say Asheville's a really fun place to hang out and do some shopping. So I'm making a knot right now, and sometimes when I make these knots, I have to start from. It's like I got to start from way down here to do it. I don't know why. Or from up in this area. I'm trying to bypass this piece. I don't have to restring it again. So I think I'm going to put the stopper here. This back on. Hopefully I've got this, y'all. That would be super aggravating to keep dealing with the same issue. Right, back through here. I'm going to give this one more time. If I can't get it, then I'm moving on. I'm going to just wrap it up. I can't take it. Let's see if I can get this through here. It might be too thick now with all this spray check. Oh yeah, the Biltmore area. There's a lot of new businesses that are happening. Greg just played an open mic at a new restaurant. He was like, it's not that many people showing up because tourism is way down in Asheville. Because people think that everything is closed. A lot of things opened up right away, but some things didn't survive. But on the upswing is that a lot of things did survive, and a lot of new things have opened. Okay, so I'm twisting as I go. Hopefully it's I can feel it going through there. But I'm trying to go with as much as sensitively through here as I can. I want that to be. Let's go through. Yeah, the Biltmore, the gardens look amazing. We walk those gardens and they look really good. It just depends on what you're coming to Asheville for. You know, some people come because they want to do some shopping. Some of the areas were not even affected. So, I mean, not all of Asheville was affected by Helene. And that's something that the whole town wasn't. Like, you know, my area that I'm in an area called the Woods. It's so close to this. And we had trees down, but you know, once the trees are up, um, you know, it's pretty good. I mean, there's some areas that are pretty disasperated, like Lake Lure got pretty messed up. But you know, just because you don't have the option to go to, or if it's not open yet, doesn't mean you were going to go in the beginning. Because like, how many times do I ever go to like some of these surrounding towns? It's like, you know, you ration it out. Like, I'll visit certain places, but you won't get to everything unless you stay for a month or something. Okay, so I'm at the same part I was, and this French wire does not want to. I don't know how far along I am in here, but I think I'm getting stopped at the same point. And the funny thing is, it's like I can feel it, but it's not going through all the way. I don't know how far along as I can. Oh, I can see a little bit of it at the end. I almost yanked it out. I was getting frustrated, but let's see how much farther. It's like a solid 2 minutes twisting this thing, and I can kind of see that end peak, and I think I can see it. Oh, that's Bonnie. That's a sweet story. I like that. Bonnie says, I recently made crochet necklaces for all my sister-in-laws for a sound bath ceremony that we have for one who is surviving ovarian cancer. What a magical thing to do. Love that story. And I'm so tempted to like, you know, I'm one of those people that likes to check the oven door and check the cookies, and so sometimes it won't rise because I'm busy checking it, and I mess up souffles because I don't have that patience. I'm patient in many ways, but this is challenging me right now to the point where I'm ready to just say, okay, I'm gonna find something else, which is where I'm at right now. Okay, I have to stop this madness. All right, that's right there. I have to put this down because I cannot be doing this for another like 5 minutes trying to get that piece through there, and it's just struggling right through here. So I'm going to go into my studio and face the heat. See if I can, like, I saw something where they did this and they got it through to like you hold the one side down and then you go through. I'll have to ask my mom because she knows all those those, like, because it was like a sewing technique of rolling it through and it just popped right out. But you know what? I'm not getting it. It's not happening for this. It might be that this is just too warm through here and I need a little bit, or it might be the tackiness of the fray check or something holding it up. So, you know, what can you do? But find another material, right? So one thing that I could do, I mean, this is hidden, remember. All this is going to be hidden, and it has one function, and that function is to protect the cord. So in theory, I'm not suggesting to do this, but I could find a piece of tape and tape this spot right here where it's going to be like a little piece of masking tape and just roll it. And that would be even more than nothing, you know. Seed beads would be good. You could actually put seed beads through each side if they have big enough and they fit through this. But that means I got to go digging around and see. I thought that this would fit easily because of the experiment on this side it does. But you know, in theory, I could make another knot on this side. So what happens here is that they've done what's called, like, I don't know if you guys knit or whatever, but sometimes when you're attaching two threads, this is actually a very fine 20 like 30 gauge wire that they put through here, And I don't know if you can see it, but they've backtracked a tiny bit. So they've split the fibers and then went back and worked them together. So there's a little loop here, and it goes back about what I can see. It looks like it ends about right there. So you can't pull this super hard, but I could attach my own on the other side. So that way I'd have something to pull through, because this way there's nothing to pull. And that's one of the problems. If I could even, I could not get this through there double through this amount of French wire. But if it had that, I was trying to get it through with the fray check, and I'm about halfway through. I can feel it, like it's like halfway, but it's half is still, that's still a mil. It's not, if it doesn't get through all the way, then it's not working at all. So I'm telling you the options. You could do, if you have a tube bead even that's that length. If you're looking for the length of this, and get that through, and then come through on both sides. But if you don't have that, oh my God, I just moved that whole thing. I just spent all that time trying to get that perfect. So anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and add this on there while I'm thinking of it. And I'm going to knot it in place. I'm going to hunt for something else. I'm not going to hunt for it today, right now, while y'all are standing there, watching me. But I'm going to eventually get that where it's, well, I want it for the launch. So I want to finish this necklace. I wanted to finish it today, but here we are. Didn't quite make it. And you wouldn't think that would be something that would be particularly difficult, but that's how it is sometimes. Like the teaching moment happens because you're watching someone live action do what you yourself have struggled with. I'm sure many people have been in this exact same boat where something doesn't fit the pendant they want to use. It is not a mysterious occurrence. It happens to people all the time. Oh, hello, Tina. Bonnie says it's really hot and stormy. Oh my God, it's so hot here. I don't know what it is now, but 81 degrees at this hour. So I might just tape this part because I'm like, it's too much for me to tolerate it at this point. Y'all have been there with me, I'm sure. But I want to see the look. All right, so if all goes well, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this to look like this. And in theory, you could add some dangles to this, add more through here. You could tie on by knotting if you wanted to add. So the hole has space. You can see there's space. It's just not enough to add like bullion or French wire and this stuff. Look, like you can see the mass just doesn't want to go through there. So, but it feels like you could get other things, and you could also, you don't have to go through the piece. You could go at the point here. Wendy said, would putting a spacer on each side protect it? Putting a spacer would work, but you're not really protecting the thread. If you were just to put just something coating it, even hot glue to keep it from fraying, that's what we're looking for. So any kind of something that will go through there and protect it, that's what you want to have something that's what we're looking for. I mean, if this were Softlex, that wouldn't even be an issue because the Softlex has a coating of its own. So ultimately what we'll do is we'll just pretend that I did that, and I'm going to show this to you. This is what, like if I did it, I would knot on either side and then cut it and put a little drop of glue. If I had found a way to protect it, that's what would have been the next 2 steps for that. Before I cut it, I would drop a little bit of glue. All right, so that's what we did. That's what we're talking about right now is these frogs. They're available at Cherry Tree. If you're wondering, they're a fantastic price. And it's a limited type thing. So if you want to get on that and you want one of the 100, there's only 100 of each of these. Go right now. There's also a coupon happening. So they're about, I don't remember if they're like $17, but they're under $20. And there's also a coupon. Check out their website, and there's a bunch. There's sometimes you can, if you get their newsletter, you can get their other coupons. So it's worth it. It's worth it to do it. All right, my friends, I'm gonna flip this camera around. You guys can see Marty how he's sleeping super hard. It's pretty cute. Okay. Oh, thank you guys. You're not. That was awesome. Thank you, Carol. I felt like it was a big, like I did not end that the way I wanted to. So kind of frustrating. It's pretty frustrating, when you have this idea and I was like, this will take me 2 minutes. And as I was like, you're gonna start your tutorial with only 20 minutes. 16.99. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. So it's $17. Round up. $17 with a coupon. Um, I'm not sure how much that would take with a coupon. How much 20% takes away. But if you want to get on it, it's pretty good. Pretty good deal. I wish I was wearing that necklace right now. But there you have it. And how my boy, he sits next to me when I'm working, and he's my study buddy, little study buddy. Oh, Carolyn says it's beautiful. Thank you, you guys. And Anne says we've all been there. Thank you guys for being patient while I spend a solid 5 minutes, 5 to 18 minutes trying to get silk through an inch long piece of French wire, which did not actually happen. It happened on the one side, but not on the other. So I would say, it's for the middle. Any way that you can protect that thread is a good way. Even masking tape, because nobody's going to see inside there, and it has one function: protecting the thread. If you have to do it again and you cut it, it's not going to matter if you cut it open, because if you're restringing it, nobody will ever know what's in there. All right. Yes, Carol says, I've been there. Work on something else for a bit. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, you guys saw that. We were all riding the struggle bus with me. And it was not awesome doing that. Yeah, that little bit of trying to get that little bit. That's always the end part, I feel like, in any jewelry making process. That last little bit, there's always that little bit of danger when you're putting that head pin and you're smashing that head pin and you accidentally, instead, you hit it so hard that you actually use the crimp as cutters. That actually happened to me last week, where I crimped so hard that I actually trimmed the soft legs, or it was like nylon. I was like, that's a first. It's never happened. So anyway, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. I want to talk a little bit about, I've had some folks emailing, as always been getting some emails. So we had a sale that we launched on our website for the TGBE. So before the TGBE started, we had that happen because we reported on it on that Friday, on the preview. We said, hey, there's going to be a sale, and it started actively running, and we sent a newsletter. So before we started the TGBE on our Sunday, it had already been going for 2 days. So what that means is orders came in, and a lot of them. A lot of people took advantage, which I am eternally grateful. That's how we make our money. So that was 100% awesome. But I just would like to remind everyone that nearly everything is made to order. And if there's any pewter in someone's order, there was a lot, we do our orders like this. This order came in on one day, and all the orders that come in first, we fill them first, and that's how it goes. And so sometimes it's frustrating because you're like, what? I don't even have any pewter beads in my order. Why is it taking so long? So the reason it takes a long time is there's probably like 50 people ahead of you, and there's only Azalea. So Azalea, her full-time job is filling orders, right? So if we get someone that says, I would like these combined, and usually you don't have to ask, because what happens is she checks first with everything. And if it can go out, what will happen is this. If we're far way down on the line of pewter production, so say it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, so she knows what's in production because she helps with production. If it's going to be like another 5-10 days and it's not in the production part of the order, then she'll just go ahead and send it out. Because otherwise, what happens is then you have people that are in different points of the line, and we don't stop the bus. We don't stop orders from being produced, but you then have to go back. And so all these things take time. So combining orders takes time. And if you have an order combined, then that takes everything as like you have the original order and the next order. But here's the thing, you're not going to get a confirmation for 2 orders because one of your shipping has been used. Since you only paid for 1 shipping with a combined order, you're not going to get a another shipping confirmation on 2 orders because that's what's called shipped separately. So we've had some confusion with some folks who are like, how come I had this order, and they're combined, and I didn't get confirmation on that order because one was refunded to you. That's why. And also, here's what's not helpful. If you email and say, why did my order not get combined? Well, the reason for that is that you might have had an order that's already ready to go and that's already out in, like, we have them like packed up and it's waiting to go to the post office. And so what's not going to happen is dig through, find the order, tear it open. So one reason is then you have that package is kind of messed up and they can get hung up in they have the thing in the post office. If it's been opened and like closed and cut and it's not a perfectly smooth thing, what we've noticed, those packages get shipped back to us. So we don't like to do that because it's not worth $4 and the amount I have to pay Azalea to go through there, cut it, repackage the whole thing. It actually costs more for us. So, and then if we have a lot of people saying, well, I want my query answered for this. The reason, if you don't have an order that's packaged together or combined, it's because it's already too late in that timeline. It's not because we're just, we didn't want to do it. It's because there's a reason. And oftentimes, if we have to give like long answers to each person that wants to know why didn't this get combined, you're saving $4 in shipping, but I have to pay her wage. And if it takes me like an hour and a half to figure that out, I'm actually losing money on it, and then I can't keep doing this. And that's just the way it is. If you can't make money doing it, then you got to go get another job, and it's life. There's not many stores that I know of that will combine your order. If I order from Anthropology, but can you combine this? And that one's already out the door, they'll be like, no, that's not how no. And they're bigger than us. They have like a full fleet of people, with the very one and only purpose is shipping. So just keep that in mind. Azalea's our head of our shipping, and we don't have enough orders coming in to hire another person to ship. So we're right at the point where it's really busy for Azalea. So thank you guys for being super patient, and we appreciate every order that comes in. It's super appreciated. Just keep that in mind. We have our AC going right now, and we were out of AC for 2 weeks. Even though it's I can't think the name of it, conductor or something, but we paid for it. But getting someone out here to Asheville where all the, it's like Christmas for the people in construction, but for people waiting to have things made, it's like not Christmas. So we finally got our AC fixed, and it's nice and cool in here, so that's a blessing. So thank you guys for your order. We really appreciate it. But just if you could maintain your patience for just a little longer. Anytime we have a sale, people take advantage of the sale. So if they order before you and there's 50 orders, your order is not, and it comes in over the weekend, you might have to do a little bit of waiting. But, some things are worth the wait. We make everything to order. And I hope you guys find that it's worth the wait and it's worth using handmade artisan components. All right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to relax. This cat, well, he's out cold. He doesn't even want to. He's sleeping so hard. He's like, I think he's drooling. Oh, Mom. All right, my friends, I'm going to go and relax. I hope you guys join me on Wednesday. I'm going to be back at it, and I'm going to have something fun to show. Maybe something different. If you guys want to make a note in the group what you're interested in seeing, that'd be great. I love that story. If you want to post in the group and show us what you've been working on, I love it too. I'm kind of a lurker. I'm trying not to be, especially this month has been like one of our busiest ever. So I haven't been on a lot, but things are starting to slow down a little bit. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. And we love you out there, and we hope you have a wonderful rest.